Come out with us and play. Love your London. Have a banana. On today's instalment of Love Your London, we'll be checking out Spitalfields Market and its surroundings. But first, we have a couple of cocktail bars to check out. I remember I was telling you earlier about these lock-ins and how the lock-ins you no longer get. So what this place is, as you can see, Discount Food Company. It's closed at the moment, but in here you've got one of those sort of clandestine secret bars. This is the start of a new section that we're calling Test Tube.
The Test Tube!
Test Tube. We are going to be comparing two local things that are similar and to find out which we think is the best. So this here we went to last night, so we've got some footage now of this bar and then another bar around the corner from here. Okay, so we are at the Discount Suit Company. Now this used to be an old merchant tailor's depot, I believe. Is that right?
Basement, yeah.
It's a base in the basement, and this is something that sort of is cropping up quite a lot in the East End. I suppose in the old days, of course, you used to have the lock-ins, which I mean, when I was growing up, it was always very special to be somewhere when after the bars closed, and you sort of like it was quite secretive. Now, of course, bars are open 24 hours now, as we saw one earlier, 24 down there. So it's not really that special thing about being locked in anymore. So what places like these tend to do is to try and sort of replicate that clandestine feeling of being somewhere where you shouldn't. Even though it is perfectly legitimate, you get a sort of a feeling that you're sort of doing something different. So we're going to have a little look in there. You're going to give me a temperature check, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Free health check.
Yeah. Perfect.
There we are.
Okay.
There's some hand sanitizer on the way down, and
Thank
there's
you.
a couple of stools at the bar for you.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
There we are.
Hello. Very well. We're just filming. Yeah, we're just going to have a cocktail at the bar. We're just filming for Love Your London. It's a new YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you very much. It's lovely. Oh, right. Do we need to wear this or? We've had our temperature check.
Wow,
Okay.
look at the size of those olives.
Huge.
They are huge. This is this used to be a merchant tailor's basement.
So there you go. Those are pretty low beams. Tristan was here grazing the surface there.
Check out the pewter tankards up there. I'm having a Cockney touch, which is Dewar's 12-year whiskey, Fino sherry, citrus, bitter grapefruit syrup, and club soda. And Sharon is having a Winchester Goose, which is vodka, Lillet Blanc, melonade, gooseberry shrub. So let's wait and see what that's like. And we're also going to have a cheese platter, which is Comté, Taleggio, Rocamadour, chip biscuits, quince jelly, and grapes. Thank you very much. So this is the Cockney punch. Oh, that's quite sour. Okay.
Very nice.
And here's the Winchester Goose.
Wow. Those are different. Is that ever different? That's lovely. Very nice. Was that you?
No.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
it's nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, very good.
So we built 6 years ago, and basically it was the cave of the shop at first. So it was like where all the suits were.
Taylor.
stored.
Yeah.
So we keep the name of it. We keep the discount suit company for that.
Yeah, why not? Oh yes. Some Collegio, some Comte, and some Roccadamore.
Taleggio is that one.
Collegio, is that one? That's Roccadamore.
Rocamandor is that one.
That one, and that's Comte. Got it the wrong way around.
Awesome.
Quince jelly, membrillo, grapes, and chip biscuits. So let's have a little taste. Okay, so that's all three cheeses: the quince and the grapes.
I can't get this in my mouth. It's going to go everywhere.
Have we go.
Do it piece by piece here. I wash my hands always.
Okay, so these are our points for the Discount Suit Company. We give it 4 Rona stars. We were impressed with the temperature check, the hand gel, and the fact that the staff were wearing masks. We give it 5 stars for the unobtrusive music, and 5 stars for the wonderful ambience and decor. We give it 3 stars for its clandestine nature, the fact that it's hidden underneath the tailors. We give it 3 stars for the decently priced cocktails. £8.50 was each cocktail, which is pretty good for London. The cocktails themselves tasted quite good. Nothing special, 3 stars. The cocktails came very, very quickly, so 5 stars for that. There was no automatic service charge, which we do like, so 5 stars for that. The price of the food was fantastic. £11 for all that cheese and the biscuits and the grapes and the quince. It's 4 stars. And the taste of the food was outstanding, so another 5 stars. Finally, the staff were charming and friendly, 5 stars.
The Test Tube!
So now we're on our way to the Mayor of Scaredy-Cat Town. That's a similar sort of place. It's a bit of a gimmick. Anyway, let's go and check it out. Come in and have a look. So I'd like to see the Mayor of Scaredy Town, please. Yes, that really is the door of the Smeg fridge. Just tell the staff that you've come to see the mayor, that's the password, and they'll let you in.
Thank you so much. Hey, it's going to get dark in here. Wait a step.
Unfortunately, the music was loud, plus it would have thrown up a copyright warning had I included it in this upload. As background music, I will therefore add some Turkish psychedelic ethno-rock by Cunan Turan and Friends, which I recorded in the Jazz Cafe earlier this year. Okay, you know what's coming now. Just hand gel, so just 2 Rona stars. The music unfortunately was very loud and it was very hard to talk to the staff, so just 1 star. Ambience decor, a little bit more contrived than the previous place, so 3 stars. But the clandestine nature is 5 stars. That Smeg fridge thing is just such a good idea. Cocktails, decently priced I guess, £10, but they were very special, and £3.50 for the little shot was not bad at all. The cocktail taste was 5 star, outstanding, tasted of luxury. They did take quite a long time to arrive though, so just 3 stars. Unfortunately, the automatic service charge is something that we don't like, so we've just given it 1 star because of the charge. We didn't eat any food, so we cannot give a score for that. But the staff were very, very friendly again, so again, 5 stars for them.
The test tube!
Sorry, technical difficulties here. Technical difficulties.
Okay.
Tristan, there's often a technical difficulty.
Okay, so now, which was the best? Which one do we think is going to be the best one? If I'm going to compare the two, the other place had better cocktails, this was better value for money, amazing food. It's a draw. But because of that service charge, I'm going to say this one just slightly wins. Especially as we were sitting at the bar, and especially the fact that we were sort of promoting one of the venues. I thought that maybe that discretionary service charge probably could have been discretionarily left off. Yeah, so here is the drawing room, hair salon and barbers on Artillery Lane. I love this still place. I love the fact of the subsidence, as you can see. It's all sort of, it's all sort of bendy. And there's cracks. And the window's cracked as well. But that is part of their look. As you can see, their logo, the drawing room, has got a crack in it. So they've sort of turned that crack in the window into a feature. A couple more points worthy of note before we leave here. Firstly, you may have noticed that some of the windows are bricked up. This is because of the window tax that was introduced by William III in 1696. You paid tax depending on how many windows your house had. This tax was repealed in 1851 when doctors argued that lack of light was unhealthy. This house is way earlier than 1851. In fact, it dates from the 1780s and is Grade 2 listed. We're also sure you've noticed that impressive-looking brown building on the right-hand side of your screen. Sadly, we invite you to look a little closer at those windows. You'll see behind this grand 1788 facade of the old Cock-a-Hoop pub a ghastly student accommodation building called Lillian Nowell's house. The windows of the new building don't even line up with the old pub facade, and there's an ugly drafty gap between the two. This disgusting architectural concept is known as facadism, and happens when a facade is listed but the rest of the building is not. It's better than losing the facade altogether, of course, but hey, just look at that awful gap. Oh, and that building over there, that's 56 to 58 Artillery Lane. Built around 1690, the facade, thankfully still attached to the building, behind it in this case, is from the 1750s and is possibly the oldest shopfront in London. Huguenot silk merchants sold from here, and more about them later. Note the rococo-style asymmetrical Doric columns. It's now an art gallery, Raven Row, specialising in the art of both unknown and established artists. In other words, any artist, I guess that means. Why is this area called Artillery Lane, plus Gun Street around the corner? Well, before there were houses here, these were fields, designated by King Henry VIII for the testing of artillery, namely longbows, crossbows and handguns. And so East End Cosmetics. Now that's been there for years and years and years. I remember used to get knockoff cheap perfumes in there. Now, unfortunately, at this point, I had wanted to get my card and take some money out of the hole of the wall for some moolah, for some pie and mash. And the reason I'm getting all Cockney on you is because over here is one of the few ATMs around here that offers Cockney as one of the languages when you're taking out your money. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here of what the sort of thing you would be expected. You type in your Huckabee fin, put in your slather of lard, or whatever it is they call it. It's not really proper Cockney, obviously, because these are modern expressions. You didn't have PIN numbers back in the old Cockney days, but it's again a bit of a gimmick. When the Olympics came to London, about maybe 100 or so ATMs offered Cockney as an option. Here in the East End, a few of the ATMs still offer Cockney as an option.
Or are there? Since recording this video, we have discovered that this ATM no longer exists, not in Cockney or in English, but it was there earlier this year. It's gone. So please, if you know of any Cockney ATMs that still exist, let us know in the comments below.
And I had wanted to take out a bit, I don't know, a tenner, a pony maybe, or
But not a monkey.
not a monkey. That would have been a lot. That's a lot. That's
Not a monkey.
That's 500 quid. That's
Yeah.
I don't think my.
Probably don't even have that in
Well,
your
we don't have that
account.
money. But talking about money, just
Oh.
subscribe. Give us lots of likes and love on the channel, because all this is going to help. I'm going to take out the odd lady Godiva these days. The odd lady. But it would be nice to take out the odd pony as well, and the odd monkey. Okay. Okay, so we're going to now go into Spitalfields Market. It's been refurbished fairly recently. As I said, it's not got the same edge that it used to have in the 90s, but it's still a fantastic market. Great for arts and crafts. Let's cross over. Check out that lovely car over there. Oh, lovely. It's the GT6 Triumph. Okay, so the name Spittlefields actually comes from the old priory and hospital that was called St Mary's, or St Mary's Hospital, and that became St Mary's Spittle, and the fields around the Spittle were known as Spitalfields, funny enough. Now the Huguenots, we mentioned them earlier when we were talking about Petticoat Lane. Well, they turned this area into a silk weaving centre of excellence. Because we're outside the city walls here, so they didn't need to conform to all the restrictions that would have been imposed on them had there been a few hundred yards to the south. Now when the Irish arrived here in the 1700s, they had to compete against one another. And so you ended up with something called the Spitalfields Riots. Spitalfields Riots were basically because the Irish silk manufacturers basically undercut the Huguenots and with their cheap labour. And there was a lot of anger and frustration and unions as well. It was the really start of a very, very early sort of trade union process. If an Irish silk weaver undercut one of the Huguenots, they would often have their silk cut, slashed as a punishment. And also, the other way around, if a purchaser bought from a cheap silk manufacturer, they'd have all their stuff slashed as well. Silk cut. Cheap French imports of silk also bringing the prices down. The riots that broke out. Okay, so now there's a very fascinating and very sad story to tell here, which culminated in the very clearly unfair execution of an Irish weaver called John Doyle and a Huguenot weaver called Jean Valine or Valois. And they were both hanged outside the Salmon and Bull pub, which still exists to this day. Now normally they would have been hanged in Tyburn, but the major silk manufacturers wanted to make an example of them, so they had them scragged right in their manner, so to speak. So the people building the makeshift gallows that had thrones thrown at them, there was loads of anger. In fact, they even brought reinforcements in to make sure that the hanging went ahead. Now pretty much everyone thinks that this was a complete stitch-up. They had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with all this riot. But an example was made of them. And if anything, it sort of actually brought the Irish and the Huguenots close together again, because they'd both suffered a massive miscarriage of justice. The person who grassed up these two characters did get his comeuppance a few years later, I'm told.
Oh my God.
Okay, so let's have a little walk around the market and see what we can find. This is a much more sanitised version of the market than it used to be. Lots fewer antiques as well. We will see a fantastic antiques market when we go to Greenwich. It's a YouTube channel. We're covering the whole of London. Cool. It has changed a lot over the years. But you don't really get the bargains that you used to get in the old days. You have to go to Brick Lane for that, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to showing you Brick Lane. That's a fantastic place. But you do get some quality stuff here, and unusual arts and crafts as well. Over here we have Dogman and Rabbit Girl. So basically these two characters, you wouldn't normally see a dog and a rabbit together, but the fact they're together is symbolising acceptance, unity, tolerance. It's a lovely statue, lovely little piece of artwork from 2017. Lots of these treasures are around London. But if you want to find something a little bit older, check this out. Now a lot of people have their coffee here, they don't even see this. Here we have the crypt of the chapel of St Mary Magdalene and St Edmund the Bishop, and this was built around 1320, and this is where the cemetery of the priory of that St Mary Spittle was, I was telling you about. Full of human bones here. So after St Mary Spittle was closed in 1539, after the dissolution of the monasteries, most of these bones were taken away, and this became a house called the Charnel House, and it was here until 1700. And no one actually knew it was here, or they couldn't find it, until 1999, when they were making new buildings around here and it was rediscovered. Quite creepy actually, isn't it?
Modern art.
Yeah, this is actually by David Teager Portsman.
Next time on Love Your London, we check out some of the local Huguenot architecture, have a pint in a pub with close ties to some of Jack the Ripper's victims, and have our first look at Brick Lane Market. See you then. From Acton Town to Wimbledon, from Brixton to Beyond, love your London, have a banana.